Hello, my name's Tony Fox and I'm the Chairman of the SWASFT Ambulance Service Foundation Trust. As you're aware, we've had to postpone the annual members meeting this year due to the COVID-19 pandemic. However, we are hoping to be able to rearrange that as soon as it's practical and safe to do so. In the meantime, we thought it was important to provide you with an update via video of some of the key challenges and achievements within the Trust. And I hope you find this informative. You will hear from Will Warrender, our newly appointed Chief Executive, as well as some of his executive colleagues and the Council of Governors. I want to start with saying some thank yous. A huge thank you to all of our people who have worked tirelessly with dedication and commitment and flexibility throughout the pandemic. Their response has been amazing and we're truly grateful, and I am very proud to be the chair of this trust with the people we have. They are amazing. So thank you to all of those. I want to say a thank you to our volunteers, our community first responders, as well as members of the publics and organisations who stepped up to help us in our time of need, again, so we could provide a response to the pandemic in a timely and appropriate manner. So thank you to all our volunteers. I also want to say a thank you to our emergency service colleagues, the police, who helped, for example, by providing additional training to ensure enough drivers who had been trained to drive under emergency conditions with blue lights, which really helped us to get a response. And our fire and rescue service colleagues, who, for example, manned 15 of our ambulances, kept them on the road every day to respond. So some really fantastic collaborative work. I also want to say thank you to our Council of Governors, who again have been involved throughout the pandemic and throughout the last year with feedback on comments from the public, as well as assuring and being involved in our plan and our response. So a huge thank you to our Council of Governors colleagues. The boards have to work in a completely different way, as have we all, and we've had to embrace technology. And I'm pleased to say we have been able to continue to have our board meetings, our committee meetings, and our Council of Governors meetings, again, to support the executive and ensure we had appropriate response and be able to make the right decisions at the right time, so that the Trust continued to provide exceptional care by our exceptional people. And we'll continue to use technology to ensure that we are able to respond and make the right decisions and support our teams. Please look out for our quarterly member newsletters and details of when the AMMM will be rescheduled. I just want to say a huge thank you for taking time to watch our video. Take care and stay safe, and I hope you enjoy it. Many thanks.
Hello, my name is Will Warrender and I'm delighted to be the new Chief Executive Officer of South Western Ambulance Service NHS Foundation Trust. You'll be aware that sadly we've had to postpone our annual members meeting due to the current crisis that is ongoing. I wanted to reassure all of you that we will keep you updated with progress as and when we're able to hold that meeting. We'll do that through the bulletin, but also through the Trust website. For now though, the important thing I think we would all agree is that we're keeping our people, we're keeping our members, and of course we're keeping the general public safe. So in the interim, I wanted firstly to introduce myself and to say hello to you, and also say a few thank yous. And I think it's fair to say that the first thank you here and now needs to go out to our people. Our people, I've been struck over the past few months as I've been out and about, have reacted to the current crisis in a quite amazing way. And I never cease to be surprised and delighted by the dedication and the commitment that each and every one of them demonstrates on a daily basis. I think the second thank you though should go to our Trust members, the Council of Governors, our board, and of course to the public for the continued support that we receive, and frankly without which we would be hard pressed to do what we do on a daily basis. I probably don't need to say this, but the past few months have been incredibly challenging. They've been challenging for us as a country, and clearly they've been challenging for the NHS and for us here down in the Southwest in the provision of the services that we provide on a daily basis to the general public. And I've been heartened by the very kind words of support that we've received and continue to receive. We've also, of course, received support in other ways, and there have been 2 grants that we've been very fortunate to receive from the NHS Charities Together initiative. And with those 2 grants, what we're trying to do is just improve the well-being of our people, enabling them to go about their business each day of the week, each week of the month, and each month of the year. As we look to the future, it's difficult, I think, for me standing here right now to be able to predict too much. I think we can say that given that we've had a really, really challenging few months to get us where we are so far, I think the next few months will continue to be equally challenging. And I think the NHS as a whole is braced for what is likely to be an extremely busy winter. So we're busy here at the moment with demand planning. We're preparing ourselves. We're getting ready for a potential surge, further surge in activity. But we're also very keen to continue some key messages. The first one is around our #unacceptable campaign. Very sadly, we've seen the incidents of violence and aggression towards our crews continue to increase and indeed in some cases escalate. And I never cease to be amazed by the commitment and the dedication that our people show on a daily basis. Sadly, that isn't always reflected in the way some members of the general public behave. We're also pressing hard on our flu campaign this year. And that is designed not only to keep our people safe, but also, and importantly, to keep our patients safe. So I will conclude by once again thanking each and every one of you for the amazing support that you give us every day. That is a huge tonic to everybody here at South Western Ambulance Service NHS Foundation Trust. And on behalf of everybody here, I'd like to say a massive thank you. I also hope to meet as many of you as I can as I go about my business over the next few months. Thank you very much indeed.
Hello, my name's Jenny Winslade. I'm Director of Quality and Clinical Care. I'm responsible for all of the elements of quality of care within the Trust. I'm also responsible for research, for clinical innovation and improvement, and for the equality account. I'm incredibly proud of the Trust and the work it's done over the last year, and incredibly proud of our staff. They've worked tirelessly over the last year to continue to deliver high quality clinical care to our patients that's delivered with compassion and respect, despite the impact of COVID-19. We know that during this time, more than any, staff need the tools and techniques to ensure they're protected and they feel able to protect their families. We've worked hard to ensure that we've got the right advice and guidance and support available. But now more than ever, we need to make sure that staff wellbeing is our top priority. I'm personally committed to making sure that we've got the right mechanisms in place to provide support to staff and to ensure that when they need help, that it's accessible in as soon a timeframe as possible, and that they're able to get the help they need to help them continue to do what is a really important job. We also need to make sure that we support our patients and we support their health and well-being. We need to make sure that we are providing high quality care that's delivered with compassion, dignity and respect. We do know that in most occasions that's the case. On the very small number of occasions things do go wrong, and we're committed to working in an open and transparent way with our patients and with our staff to make sure that we investigate, we listen, and we learn and we improve. And actually we do a huge amount of work each year supporting patients, supporting staff and supporting families through the process when things do go wrong. We listen and we improve and we change things as a result. And that's really, really important to supporting our staff and their well-being, as well as patients and families. And we're very proud of the fact that we are open and transparent. We do listen and we do take those improvements forward. We also know that our staff are subject to violence and aggression every day. Our staff in the hub receive verbal abuse on a daily basis, as do our staff on the road who were bitten, scratched, spat at. It's absolutely abhorrent and unacceptable, and we need your support as members of the public to make sure that it's called out as something that is completely unacceptable. We need you to support our campaigns like #unacceptable, and we need you to make sure that it becomes a thing of the past and something that's completely unacceptable in your community. We need to make sure that if you do witness violence and aggression, please don't get involved and put yourself at risk, but please do make sure the police are on the way and that our staff have support coming. We work very hard when staff are subject to violence and aggression to support them to tell their story, to support them through the process of raising the concerns with the police where appropriate, and to ensuring that we take appropriate redress where it's necessary. But it isn't acceptable. Our staff are out there every day trying to do a great job and to provide great care to everybody within the South West. And this simply shouldn't be happening. We do know that we do a great job. Our patients tell us every day how wonderful our staff are, and I'm incredibly proud of the work they do. I'm incredibly proud of the way we interact with patients and each other, and how we respect is something that's an everyday occurrence in this organisation. We continue to strive for the best quality patient care. We continue to innovate. We lead the way in terms of research in the ambulance sector, and we support our staff to identify improvements and to take those forward. We work very closely with our ambulance colleagues to do that, but we also do a huge amount of work internally to make sure clinical innovation, clinical excellence are a feature of our everyday practice. And that's really important because that means our patients are getting the best care possible. So thank you very much for listening to me. I'm very proud of the Trust. I'm very proud to work here as a nurse in an ambulance service, and I'm very proud of our staff and the way they provide high quality care to the people of the South West. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jessica Cunningham and I'm the Executive Director of Operations for the Trust. The last 7 months have been remarkable and truly unprecedented. I've completed 30 years service for the NHS next year, and in all that time I've never experienced anything like the last 6 months. In March, we watched as the London Ambulance Service took the brunt of the first wave of the COVID pandemic. And at that time, we started planning for what was a very unknown and unclear scenario for the South West. But looking back, it's been remarkable what the Trust has managed to achieve and deliver, and we have kept the people and population of the South West safe. In fact, during the time, we had some of our best response times to patients. And whilst our demand was much lower than we would normally expect, a lot of that is down to the planning and the resourcing levels that we did manage to put out. There's a heightened attention on the NHS going into winter this year, notwithstanding the fact that there may be a second and subsequent outbreak of COVID. It is just incredibly complicated this year. We've had a very difficult August already. Our hospitals are under enormous pressure, and we're feeling that most days with the amount of handover delays that we are experiencing in some hospitals. And within our own service, we've had activity levels in August that have topped New Year's Eve, which is incredibly unusual and not something we would be expecting this time of year. Over the next few weeks, we'll be looking at the preparations going into winter. We've already taken the opportunity to review and revise some of our escalation planning for the Trust, and we've looked at our REAP levels and the actions that underpin those and the surge actions. And as part of this, we'll be looking at what surge actions we would put back in the event of a second and subsequent wave. The frontline operations is well supported going into winter. We've had excellent support from our clinical hubs, who over the last 6 months have delivered some of the best call answering performance in the country. and this has had an enormous impact on people calling 999, providing assurance to the public. We've had a recent visit from Nauru, who work with us to test our resilience, and the EPRR teams have had some amazing feedback in terms of both their preparations, their preparedness, but also the capability that now exists within the Southwest. And we are supported every day just by the quiet undertakings of all the staff who work within the support teams, such as the schedulers and the fleet and make ready staff who work every day to keep frontline operations moving. There's no doubt that going into the winter we're going to be putting a huge burden and pressure on our fleet, but I am confident that we've got the right staff looking at this for us to enable us to perform the best we can. It's going to be an incredibly challenging winter. We are moving ahead with the people plan. There is no doubt in my mind that our journey to increase the conveying capacity of our fleet is the right one. We are working alongside all the other English ambulance services who are doing the same, and to give you some idea of what the Trust has managed to achieve, we're putting out something like 10,000 additional DCA hours every week compared to a similar time last year, which is a hugely significant achievement for the Trust, and we shouldn't forget that. If I could just end by asking everybody to keep safe, to help us keep the Trust safe, and to think about those of us among us who are feeling a little bit more vulnerable at this time as they come back to work. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Tim Bishop, Exec Director for IM&T, and I've got a short message for the governors. I'd like to firstly thank you for your support of the Trust during really uncertain and unprecedented times, and you are part of the team which makes this organisation the great place that it is. And it's with regards to perhaps that uncertainty and the need for flexibility, I'd like to just give you some updates on with regards to technology and digital and our response and our recovery from COVID. It's fair to say that we've all seen these massive changes that the last 6 months and so have driven us towards. Those are in business as well as professional lives. And from a business point of view, I was proud to be able to say that we were able to deliver pretty much what the organisation needed to keep us going through those very difficult, turbulent first couple of months and adapt and change along the way. We'd had plans for enhanced clinical triage and enhanced remote working so that colleagues could look at the CAD outside of the clinical hubs and do more on that in a controlled and secure way. And actually, we turned that around and turned those plans into real action very, very quickly. We've had, literally hundreds of people working daily from home, and that continues to this day. And as such, we've had to invest in additional bandwidth for that connectivity, and are still concluding a project at the moment in introducing more bandwidth at our stations across the whole of the SWASFT patch. So we've done a lot to ensure that we can keep working. And we're doing more. You may be aware at the moment we're doing a trial for clinician video consultation back to certain callers and patients that speak to us. I was pleased enough to see that in our St James hub a few weeks ago. And for me, I would sum it up as a picture paints 1,000 words. And for an experienced clinicians who see the patient, and in the one that I was observing, the patient and their child, it was really helpful to come to an early conclusion around what category of call that was and what our response should be. And I'm sure that we'll have seen this across health settings, and we'll see it more in the ambulance sector moving forward. And then in looking forward, what I'd just like to draw governor's attention to a significant number of projects that we've got going on. Some are infrastructure projects. We're replacing what needs to be replaced. It's like a car or one of our DCAs. We need to change it as time goes by. And actually, each time we put in new kit, we get faster PCs, for example, a bigger capacity, and that all helps a bit. But our use of information is driving so high and so quickly that we're always playing, I won't say playing catch up, but we're always being mindful that we're doing the right thing with an eye to the future. So we're doing a lot in the physical infrastructure. We're doing work around cybersecurity to make us even more secure than we currently are. And actually, we're also doing a number of technology-based programs So our ECS2 program, replacing the electronic patient care record, is well underway. Within the next month or so, we'll be migrating to a new hosted platform in the background that will help us in terms of scalability and availability, and also flexibility and resilience. And then we'll start the rollout of some new state-of-the-art Toughbook devices. Now, they're not the Panasonic ones. These are much more like a tough iPad with a bespoke keypad, which we've settled on after considerable conversations and consultations with our frontline users. We'll also be extending the clinical decision-making capability on ECS through ECS2, and in time putting it into the hub and using it as a capability to allow us to share information through to other regional partners. So whether that's in the acutes or whether that's into CCGs or primary or specialist care, a lot of our patient data will start to be integrated and connected in the coming years. Now, that's not for the short term, but that's part of the deliverables of ECS2. We're replacing all of our vital signs monitoring equipment with a combined unit that does that plus defibrillation. That's going to be really powerful in terms of ensuring better clinical and patient outcomes. And the crews that have got that, as we have already seen in the early deployments in Cornwall, really take to it. So that's a big project that the Trust is investing around about £12 million in terms of capital, in terms of re-equipping all of our vehicles across the next couple of years. We're looking at modernising our stores and inventory management systems. We've done a great job in terms of introducing a PPE-based one, which helps us to manage that critical safety equipment for our staff during COVID response. Now we're returning our focus to meds management, which is where we had started but had paused. And of course, all this technology and digital developments couldn't happen without a strong team. And I'm pleased to say that IM&T does have a strong team. At times, we're struggling to recruit through the competitiveness of other areas of the industry, because everybody wants to take part in digital transformation. But we're doing what we can to make a job at SWASFT and SWASFT IM&T as attractive as it possibly can be. And those efforts will continue. That team have continued to be on site when they needed to be on site throughout the COVID period. And even when we've had numbers of staff which have been shielded, they've actually continued to work really effectively, and we've been really pleased about the productivity we've been able to maintain. I hope that you and governors have been able to continue to access the information and the news that you need to carry out your role during these difficult times, and use the technology that my directorate is pleased to provide to enable to do so. So I'll close by saying once more, thanks for what you do. I hope you have a good session, and I look forward to seeing you either like this or in person again soon.
Hello, my name is Jonathan James. I'm the Acting Director of Finance here at SWASFT. I'd like to talk to you about the 1920 set of accounts for both the Trust and also for the charity. 1920 was a key year for us in the fact that it was the first year that we accepted our control total from NHSI, and in doing that we were able to achieve a surplus of £1.9 million. Our income for last year was up significantly to £262 million. That was significantly up based on a couple of elements, mainly around the investment in our people plan to increase the of resources, but also the additional activity that we had from last year. In terms of our capital plan, we had a capital plan where we spent £12.9 million. £5 million of that was on fleet, and then the rest of the balancing number was made up of investments in estate with some estate changes, and also some equipment changes to do with our vital signs and electronic care summary systems. Our end cash position at the end of the year was at £30 million, which is a healthy position for an organisation our size. And then looking forward from a trust point of view into 2021, as you can imagine, this has been very dominated by COVID. There is an interim financial regime that is in place for the NHS. However, we are on track in terms of delivering our plans. Moving on to the charity. So a significant year for the charity, a bit of a strange position to present as a Director of Finance, but I'll try and explain. So our income last year went up to £335,000, up from 207 the year, so a significant increase. Our balance at the end of the year actually showed a decrease. So actually we showed a balance of £457,000 compared to 537 the year before. that purchase meant actually we spent more of our funds, which from a charity point of view is a good thing. We spent over £414,000 last year with the charity, mainly around equipment and elements relating to staff. So a really successful year, and thank you to the team and Zoe Larter, the head of charity in particular, for her work in that. I'd just like to take this position to say thank you to the budget holders across the Trust for the work that they do in supporting the finance position, and from my point of view, the team, my finance team, who managed to pull together both the Trust and the charity accounts during COVID, during lockdown. Thank you very much to everybody. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Dee Nix and I'm the Public Governor for Wiltshire and Swindon. Along with my Deputy Lead, Torquil McGuinness, we serve the whole of Wiltshire and Swindon. Just an update on where we are at the moment in terms of our service in Wiltshire. The Ambulance Trust is still geared up at 110% resource, which happened at the beginning of the COVID crisis. And that resource has been maintained to ensure that we can deal with all eventualities. Having said it's set up to that level for COVID, we have had an enormous increase in the number of calls to the Trust generally, way above anything which we had similar last year. This is possibly because so many people are taking staycations, but one thing that I would ask all members, and if you can pass it on to friends and family, please only use the Ambulance Trust if it's absolutely essential that you do so. The 111 system is very good these days. There's a great deal of information on the internet. If you haven't got access to the internet, then you can phone 111 and they will be very pleased to help you. You can also obviously phone your GP surgery and ask them for advice. Many surgeries these days offer a triage service, so before you have an appointment you've got the opportunity of discussing your issues perhaps with a practice nurse, all of which greatly reduce the burden on the emergency side of the service, and means that when you really need an ambulance, there should be one available to you in a timely fashion. So just a little plea from me to all our members in Wiltshire and Swindon. And the other plea I have is to consider becoming a governor yourself. My term of office expires towards the end of next year, and there will be a vacancy, and I would really love to be able to hand over to somebody from Wiltshire or Swindon to take on immediately from me, so that there's no interruption in both governors working for the benefit of Wiltshire. Just like to stress, you can contact me via the Ambulance Trust. You'll have the information for contact with these videos, and if you've got any questions or queries about anything to do with the Ambulance Trust, please do get in touch. Thank you very much. Bye.
My name is Torquil McGuinness. I'm a Public Governor for Swindon and Wiltshire, and also Deputy Lead Governor. Your views are welcomed. People often criticise large organisations for being out of touch with ordinary people, but without input from the public, they can't get the necessary feedback. So members can contact the ambulance service directly or via their local governors. They can also come and speak to staff and governors at events and shows and things like the Restart a Heart campaign. So thank you to those of you who've been involved and supported the Trust, especially over the last few difficult months.
Hello, my name is Steve Manning, the Governor for the Isles of Scilly. It's my belief that the Trust delivers a very efficient, caring and safe ambulance service across the whole of the Southwest region. The Trust as a whole, and our personnel at all levels, have shown flexibility, adaptability and dedication in delivering the service throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, and continue to do so as the nation continues to face the unknown during this national emergency. By taking an interest and becoming members of the Trust, you show a support which rewards all staff throughout the Trust and encourages them in continuing their commitment to deliver an outstanding service for all. Thank you so much for taking this interest, becoming members of the South West Ambulance Service Trust, and showing your support and interest for yourselves, your families, and the whole of your community. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Margaret Batty. I've been a public governor for Devon for the South West Ambulance Service Foundation Trust for around 6 months. I'd really like to thank, heartfelt thanks to the NHS and to our ambulance service for their incredible duty over the last few months of this difficult year. They really are phenomenal.
Hello everyone, I'm Andy Nichols. I'm one of the public governors for SWASFT, covering Somerset and North Somerset. Our role is to ensure that if you're a member or a member of the public or a member of the trust, that we represent your views and any thoughts you may have on services we deliver. Thank you.
Everybody, I'm Claire Head. I'm currently the public governor for Dorset. Personally, I'd like to thank everybody that I have met in my time within Dorset and Trustwide as well. From crews to people who work in the 111 hub, the pressures they're under, what it's meant to them working under COVID, which has actually been a real challenge for all of us, and the situations that we found ourselves in with lockdown as well, and how the crews have responded and staff have responded. It's been a real testimony to their professionalism.
Hi, my name is Roy Shubhabrata, and I'm a public governor representing Bristol, Bath and North East Somerset. In a year that's been really challenging for all of us, I'd just like to thank the staff at the South Western Ambulance Service on behalf of everyone in Bristol, Bath and North East Somerset for the truly exceptional job that they've done and for being there for us through thick and thin. Thank you.